Hey, hello, good afternoon. It's Tracy Daviero from Your VA Mentor. I wanted to come to you on our new day, Tuesday, and I've been teaching all day. So I was teaching and learning, I should say. I've been online in a training course and one learning and one teaching. So it's been a very busy day, and so this is my first time outside today. And my husband was telling me how humid it was outside and muggy, and he's absolutely right. I've been in the air-conditioned house all day, so I decided it was a really good chance to come outside and do a quick live for you on our new Tuesday schedule, like I said. And our topic today is saying no. One of the suggestions for a topic a while ago from one of our group members was about saying no. I think that this is something... Well, I don't think it is. I know it's something that's really challenging sometimes for virtual assistants because we are in a support role. We, even though we are, I always talk about us being like this is the business owner and this is us. We're not below, we're not underneath, we're not, lower on the scale. We are business owners in our own right. We are their partners, and we are not, even though we are in a support role, we are their partners. We need to act like their partners. And so sometimes what happens though is, even the name of our industry is virtual assistant. So we feel a little bit less than. We feel a little bit like maybe we're getting paid to do stuff, so we should be saying yes all the time to people. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, in terms of clients asking us to do things that we don't want to do. We'll start with that. I think that actually may even be enough that we can just talk about that. So here's the thing right off the bat, and I know that you're going to listen to the advice and you're going to say that's easier said than done, Tracy. So when someone asks you to do something, and this has happened to me many, many times in my VA business. So like I tell you guys all the time, I only teach you stuff that has happened to me or that I have experience with, because if I haven't experienced it, then I maybe don't have the right information, or at least I don't have the information, or the advice that comes from my heart. So I always try to make sure that I have experience with the things that I'm teaching you. That's sort of one of the, I like to think that that's a really good piece of me being a coach and a trainer, is that I learn things and I teach them, and I experience things and I teach them, because I think that that's where we learn our best lessons a lot of the time. So when a client asks you, you are hired to do XYZ, your scope of work is this, right? Scope creep is a really, really big issue for VAs. And rightly so, because once you have a client, if they ask you to do something else, something that's not in your scope, something that you've not, whether you know how to do it or not, and we're not talking about learning things today, we're just talking about saying yes or no. You actually don't have to say yes to that thing, whatever that thing is. If you are, say if you're handling client care or general admin for somebody, and they say, oh, can you just start updating my social media posts? If you don't want to do that, the actual right answer is, that's not what I do. Just no, that's not something that I do. And so, but it's very, very difficult sometimes to give up money. I totally understand this. So if you think that you can get more money from the client and add on to your retainer and you can start doing something else, then that's fantastic. You don't have to say no. What I say is, if it's not in your area of expertise, you really should be turning it down. That's the advice that I'll give you. But there are parameters, there are circumstances where, you can say yes. Now, if it's something that you know that you're not going to want to do long term, here's a tip, okay? Is what you can do is you can say to the client, that's not what I do, but how about we start to set it up? We put some procedures in place. I'll draw up some processes for you. We'll make sure that it's exactly happening the way you want it to happen. And then we can look at bringing a team member in to do it, based on the way that you want to have things done. Now, maybe that's not with social media. That's not, the best example sometimes, but that's what happens is you can say no immediately. And in a lot of circumstances, you probably should. If it's really something that you don't want to do, you can say no. But then you can also say yes until. So say yes for the moment, and then help the client sort of put some things in place so that you are prepared to move it off to somebody else. One of the things that I never liked to do, and I really struggled with saying no, so much so that I ended up, so much so that my canopy's full of water. So much so that I ended up doing it almost until it was probably one of the last tasks that I did for most of my clients. And that was processing payments and chasing delinquent payments. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. But I was good at it, and it was really challenging for the clients. Most of my clients were business coaches, so there was like the business coach and then there was their client, right? So talking about money, as you guys all know, sometimes can be really challenging. And so it was really challenging for my coaches to be giving them the best advice that they could give the client, and then have to talk about your credit card didn't go through, or, you want out of the program, or whatever the things were. So there needed to be a buffer in between, and that's the client care role, which is the role that I filled. But the money part was often the most difficult thing. It wasn't about submitting homework or completing agreements and that kind of thing. For the most part, it was, where's your money? We have to process your payment. You need to give me another credit card or clear some money on your credit card or whatever it is. So we're talking about really uncomfortable stuff. And so the reason that I did it, even though I didn't want to do it, so I should have said no, was that sort of goes along with the client care role. So it kind of went with the role that I was filling for the client. I think it's really going to rain here. So I kind of wanted to say no because I didn't like to do it, but it sort of fit with the role that I was like. I wasn't doing social media for her, and then she said, could you follow up on my missed payments or something like that. So it really did, it was part of the role. But also, I was really good at it. I never made the clients, at least I don't think, some of them of course, but I don't think I ever made them feel anxious or upset or anything like that about it. So I had a way of talking to people. My business communication is pretty good. And so I was able to do it, and I was able to make everybody more relaxed about it, So sometimes it happens, like you've got, I remember when I was traveling one time, and I didn't realize that the hotel had put a hold on my credit card for not just the room, so I knew how much money that had to be, but they had put like the deposit for incidentals. It was like an extra $300 or something like that. And so then I went to use my credit card somewhere else in the hotel, like for dinner or something like that, and it didn't go through. And it was so embarrassing. It was awful. But I had to go to the front desk and say, like, what's the deal? And so I went, and they said, oh, well, we've put this hold on, because I'm like, there should be plenty of money there for the room and everything like that. Like, there's no, I wouldn't have needed another $300 or $400 on my card. I just wanted to pay for my lunch, my dinner. So anyway, so they were able to tell me, oh, we're actually holding like $850 on the card or something. I'm like, holy crap. I was able to go up, move some money onto the card, and make sure that I was able to. And then they only ever processed, like there were no incidentals in the end, but they had to hold that. So some things happen, right? Sometimes you don't, there's a hold on the card for other payments that are going to be processed and you don't know. So it's not always about just being delinquent. And so that's about the no stuff. So you can say no immediately. No, that's not something I do. Like I say, if I was doing social media for someone, I certainly wouldn't be running their credit cards. But if you say, yes, we can do that, but let's try to find someone else to cover that in, say 3 months or something. We'll do it for a period of 3 months. Or you can just say yes if that's something that you decide. But I think those of you who struggle with saying no to clients, I think it's once you start to do it, it gets a lot easier and you get really defined in terms of what you do. And so my response is always, that's not what I do. That's not a service that I offer you. So that's not one of my service offerings, but it's just, that's not what I do. It's pretty simple. And I'd love to hear specific examples of what you're struggling with in terms of responding to no. But sometimes it's the tasks the clients are asking you. Sometimes it's about the clients that are coming to you. And so there's another one right off the bat. If you don't feel comfortable working with someone, you have to tell them no. Now you can, fabricate a reason if you want. You can tell them that you're full. You can tell them that, you don't have any space available and that kind of thing. But if you come as a referral, I've gotten a lot of referrals over the years that I just knew were not the right ones for me. And I was very grateful to the people who were sending me the referrals. But at the same time, not everybody's personalities go together, right? And so not everybody is your best client. I got a lot of referrals through a coaching group that I belong to, mastermind group. And half of the people in them were just not my kind of person. They were last minute people, or they were creatives who would change their mind a lot, or whatever it was. There were reasons that some of them were a good fit for me and others were not. So sometimes it's about saying no to the people who are coming to you and want to work with you. But you're just not really feeling it. You're not really getting it. And so I'm not a big proponent of lying. making up a reason or something like that for people and saying, oh, my rates are super high or this and that. I see in the VA forums all the time, I see the funniest advice that people give. They say, oh, tell them that your rates are super high, they're going up and they can't afford you and everything. I've actually gotten into that situation where I charged a really high rate for someone I didn't want to work with, and darn it, did she not take it anyway. So I made the money, but I still didn't want to be working with her. I still didn't want to be doing that particular project. So it's really, really important. Oh, I'm getting my Facebook reminder. You've been on Facebook too long today. So it's a really important thing, though, to identify, what you're going to say whenever people say no. And oftentimes, it's just like, I don't have any space in my calendar right now. That's really the easiest way to go. It doesn't matter whether you like somebody or whether you don't. You can always say that and just say, I don't have any openings right now. Then if they ask you again in 3 months, I still want you to work with me. Let me help you find somebody, or, here's where you can find people if you don't want to help matchmake people and stuff or give referrals. You can always say, here's a great place. Go to Cava and, get a great VA. You can post an RFP or whatever it is. You can tell people where to go to find somebody who's going to be able to look after them if you continue, to not want to look after them. So saying no is a challenge. It's one of those muscles that you have to build as a business owner, because you want to make sure that you're happy doing the things that you want to do every day and working with the people you want to work with. So it's well within your right for you to be saying no. Whether it's for tasks, whether it's for working with people, whatever it is, whether it's working with a different system that you're not comfortable with, the right people will come along for you to work with, and the right people will be your clients and give you tasks that you want to be doing that make you happy to be doing what you're doing with the people that you're doing it with. So I think that that's really important. So I hope that gave you a few tips today. I think I'm coming under some rain clouds now, so I better go back inside to the air conditioning and put my sweater back on. So take care. We'll see you next time. Have a super day. We'll see you next week, Tuesday. Thanks.